it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure who Obama thinks he's fighting for or against. So no, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sold. Beyond that, I serve in a group called Veterans for Peace, and one of the things that we do is seek justice for veterans and victims of war. And every day, 22 veterans kill themselves, commit suicide. They are the other Veterans for Peace. I'm a veteran for peace. They're the Veterans for Peace who can't be here because they've killed themselves.
I actually totally separate. Let me take your information. That's actually a story. We're good. A story that I actually would like to do, but of course finding someone who's lost a loved one to suicide, it's very hard to get someone to talk. Do you think I could take your information and
Sure.
You might be able to help us? We're based in Miami, so there's no problem for us.
Well, there's Veterans for Peace down there too.
Sorry.
I thought it was
false flag just to hide some of the things that he's been doing and to divert people's attention. And people are going to die.
Well, people are already dying.
Yeah, they are dying. That's right. And more people are going to die if they send missiles in.
So, do you buy that this is we should go into Syria as a matter of national security, as a moral imperative?
No, not at all.
Can you explain why, please?
Because we have no business being over there. They're their own sovereign nation. We have no business being over there. Look what happened to Libya. Look what we did in Libya. Look what we did in Iraq, Afghanistan. These people, they're not better off. They're worse off. A lot of people have died because of our intervention.
Do you think that the United States or any country in the world should do something to step in to help? I mean, we're talking about warfare being used against government using against.
I think there are some people that say there's evidence that the rebels are doing it. I mean, they're from other places, so no, I don't think we should be going over there at all. We have problems in our own nation that should be taken care of.
And you have no sympathy for or aspect of helping people who can't help themselves?
Helping people by killing other people, no. It'd be one thing to be going over there with hospitals, with doctors and nurses and such as that, but no, not by saving people by killing other people. And where they want to target, there's people living there, where the bases are on all.
Would you like to say anything else?
No, I'm just very sorry that our government is taking it upon itself to be all over the world.
You know what, Anna?
killing
You want to see
people.
that beautiful face? Sorry, just got slide it down. You're trying to cover your face. Sorry. So you were saying, I was asking if you wanted to say anything else.
I just hope that they decide not to strike Syria.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
will affect us for the rest of eternity. I believe that this is not the America we want to live in, where we have unjust war, where we just jump in guns a-blazing without understanding the reasons why. We used to do things for noble reasons. Now we make up noble reasons to justify what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
My
Your sign says stop funding terrorists. Can you tell me a little bit about what you mean by that, or who the terrorists are?
Well, all the Western countries and all the governments are saying that they're funding moderate rebels to fight the regime. But actually, what all the money and all the weapons are going to these Al-Qaeda terrorists, the same terrorists that bombed here in U.S. in 9/11. They're the ones that are getting funded, and they're the ones that are getting the weapons, and they're the ones that are fighting the regime. So by funding them and by sending them money and by supporting airstrikes against the Syrian regime, the U.S. government is saying that they're just on the same side, and that's not acceptable. Not for Americans, not for Syrians, not for anybody else in the world.
So you think the United States is being very vague about what the opposition is about?
Well, it's not just being vague, but that the United States, like the United States government or the intelligence, or there's been a lot of media manipulation going on, and they're trying to sell that there's actually modern rebels inside Syria, but most of them are just extremists coming from Chechnya, Afghanistan, Europe, Saudi Arabia, just to come in our country and fight the regime. That's what's actually going on.
I see. So how do you see this thing playing out?
Well, the only way to play out is just leave the Syrians alone. If they leave the Syrians alone, we Syrians will find a way to figure it out ourselves. But we're against any military intervention from any country, whether it's coming from the United States, Europe, Russia, China. Any direct military intervention is unacceptable in Syria.
Did you hear about Britain refusing to help out the United States?
Yes, because they went to the parliament, and the parliament represents the sound of the people, and the people don't want to go to war. And hopefully Congress here, if they really go to war.
Is this a Syrian flag here?
Yeah.
What do the two stars stand for? No?
Well, the two stars stand for, it's actually a historic unity between Syria and Egypt. Each star represents the Syria and Egypt, and it stays that way ever since.
It's like during the first...
The 31st United Arab State.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So tell me about the significance of your mask.
The significance of the mask? Well, I shouldn't admit this, but I only brought one party favor. I didn't have anything to make a sign with, and just standing here with my bare face hanging out doesn't say anything to the public. At least this is a recognizable, iconic image, and I like to see one or two of these in any crowd. But frankly, I'm not hiding anything.
Okay.
If I tried to, they'd just run the tape back until I took the mask off somewhere.
Right. It's pretty hot to wear a mask too, you know?
A little bit, but at the same time, it also acts sort of as a sunglasses effect. There's some shade in it, so it's a balance.
So what do you think of this demonstration? How do you think of the turnout?
Oh, well, it's early yet. It won't probably hit peak for at least 30, 40 minutes. But so far, so good. I mean, you know, all across the country, people are doing this today to send a message to the world. The American people are not responsible for the excesses of our federal government. We try. We do what we can.
What do you think the reasons are for the United States contemplating entry into the war?
Well, first of all, there's a little issue of gas pipelines. That's rather a bit important. If you look up geopolitics, gas pipeline, Syria on the internet, you'll learn some interesting things. Then there's also the business of Iran. It's a long-term unsolved problem because we've got Afghanistan, we've got Iraq. But without Iran, you don't have Pipelineistan and you don't dominate the flow of oil and natural gas to Asia.
I like that term, Pipelandistan.
Yes, the imperial province of Pipelineistan.
Did you make that up?
No, I don't think so. It just kind of emerged from the zeitgeist once upon a time.
I see. Probably during the first
Yes,
version.
during the first Gulf War, yes.
Yeah.
Or, well, not the first Gulf War, but actually the invasion of Iraq, I think, is what brought that about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're pretty up on your-
Afghanistan, there was still at least some credible propaganda to the effect that it had something to do with suppressing Al-Qaeda. Mm-hmm. But then going after Iraq, well, that was just absurd.
Some people believe that the opposition in Iraq is made up of people further to the right. What do you think?
In Iraq?
I'm not sorry. In Syria.
Syria? Could be, could be. As near as I can tell, though, the bulk of the opposition today, the ones who, you know, once upon a time, there was apparently some kind of a popular uprising in Syria. But very quickly, foreign mercenaries moved in and co-opted it and basically took over. There are press reports to that effect from the original Free Syrian Army floating around out there. They just weren't very widely broadcast.
No.
But basically, what I'm seeing happening now, though, is that the world, enough of the world, figured out what really happened in Libya. And so they were trying to do the same thing again. Set up some government as having murdered a whole bunch of their own civilians and then knock them down with a mercenary army and claim it was a popular uprising. It didn't work this time. Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
And so, personally, I think there's a very good chance that we might make it over this hump without killing many more people. And that's what I'm hoping for. Preferably no more people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Kerry, what do you say? How many lies did you tell today? John Kerry, what do you say? How many lies did you tell today? John Kerry, what do you say? How many lies did you tell today? Fight the power, turn the page. Hey Obama, hear our rage. Obama, Obama.
Need for war. We've been doing that and it's been destructive and hurting other people.
Hands off Syria! 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 Hands off Syria!
Great. Okay, tell me why you're here.
We've had enough wars, and this one more than any of them is being pushed on us. The majority of people don't want it. A lot of the military doesn't want it because they're not prepared for another fight. Soldiers that have been deployed haven't had any downtime to recover. But this is just so wrong.
Drama! Bush! Obama! Same old drama! Bush! Obama! Same old drama! Bush! Obama! Same old drama!
The United States government. What I've come to realize is that regardless of what political parties in power, it seems that the only thing that they seem to agree on is that we need to have a policy of war in the Middle East. There's absolutely no attempt at diplomacy. There's haven't seen since 2010 when the Democrats lost control of the House. So I'm just, wondering why it always seems that it's the only thing they can come to any consensus on. Barack Obama is in Russia right now, supposedly trying to solve our economic problems. In the meantime, he's lobbying Washington, the congressman, to go to war. I don't think this country can afford another war. And also we need to realize the ramifications, the fact that we could end up going to World War III, being that Russia won't be too happy. And I personally feel that this attack in Syria is really a front for what they really want to do, which is go to Iran. Because they know that Syria is an ally of Iran, and basically an attack on Iran would inflame the region. And we just don't need it. We can't afford it. It doesn't make any sense. So, the people are overwhelmingly against it, as you see. Congressmen and women are getting flooded with calls against it. So I'm one of the people that's thoroughly against any aggression whatsoever, because I know it's going to lead to a prolonged just what we've seen in Iraq and Afghanistan. Just, no real end, no solution to the problem. Because war doesn't solve anything.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Sure appreciate it.
I know a little inside info.
Tell me some inside info. I caught.
Yeah, well, the inside info I got is that nuclear weapons, some nuclear warheads, have actually been released out of a Texas Air Force base, and they were put on a truck, loaded on a truck, and heading for South Carolina. And then from there, we don't know where, but quite a coincidence that 2 days later, Lindsey Graham comes out, the guy from South Carolina, and senator from South Carolina comes out and says that there's a threat of the people in the Middle East using a nuclear weapon against places like Charleston, South Carolina, or New York. And it's like, if we don't go in and basically take care of business, and it's like, why would there be that coincidental speech by him about nuclear threat when right 2 days before there's a nuclear movement of weapons secretively done to South Carolina? Very coincidental. Yeah. You know, I mean, and a lot of us believe that this entire gas attack in Syria was a false flag attack, as have been many other instances in our history and other countries' histories. It's a commonly used military tactic, which is a false flag attack. It's in the CIA handbook. It's in the Army Officers Handbook. It's just it's something that's been used all the way back to the days of the Spanish-American War, even.
I heard that the attack could not been verified by an independent third party. The attack has not been actually verified by a third party.
The attack actually happened, but the circumstances seem to be leaning more towards the rebels, not towards the Assad government, which would tend to go along with common sense thinking, because why would the Assad government, with that great red line in the sand that was drawn about chemical weapons, want to bring in the hellfire of the United Nations, NATO, and the United States? There'd be no reason to want to bring that type of an enemy onto your shores, and the firepower that we possess. There'd be no reason to ever want to have that with that red line over your head. I didn't understand it from the beginning, and there's been witnesses that say that it was the rebels. You know, if it was indeed Assad, then we should have given the UN weapons inspectors a chance to confirm and verify that, instead of trying to rush. We're going to hurry up and bomb before these guys have a chance to disseminate the evidence. So it's a stinking fish as far as I can see.
I like that term, stinking fish.
I'll give it to my boss.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. See, the messed up thing is, this is actually the second UN inspection about the chemicals. The first time it already happened, and it came back with the results that the UN, Carlos Del Ponte, she said that the rebels were the ones that used the chemical weapons in the first place. So now, John Kerry's saying that there's no way the rebels have access to it. They had access to it in the first place because they're being supplied by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and America. So they have the chemical weapons, and they have the capabilities to use them. It's just that this is just a provocation for us, or for America, to go in there and start a war and destabilize Bashar al-Assad.
Yeah, and the United States is no stranger to backing chemical attacks like Iraq did to Iran.
Yeah, because back like you said, back then they supported Saddam Hussein, and they sold him the chemical weapons that he used to kill the Kurds. But at the same time, he was Saddam was having a conflict with Iran, so they supported Iran, and they looked the other way. You know, all about these human rights, so they looked the other way, and they did the same thing in Vietnam when they dropped the Agent Orange in Vietnam and killed all my people and the Vietnamese people too. So it's very transparent that they're lying, and this is a bunch of crap. That is just
So who are the rebels?
Who are the rebels? The rebels are mercenaries that are being supported and funded by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Great Britain, and America. They all have interests in there, and it's not for humanitarian rights. They want that pipeline that goes through Syria, but the thing is Syria won't let them, and they want that. That's the thing, because Qatar sits on a natural gas field that they share with Iran, and they want that European market, which Russia has now. So it's all about the pipeline. It's not about humanitarian rights. It's a bunch of bullshit. What they're really trying to say is about humanitarian rights. If it was about humanitarian rights, they would have been there a long time ago fighting the terrorists with Bashar al-Assad.
That's the rebels who fight in Syria. We create them. We create them, and now they did this to us. Now they doing it in Syria. Now that's the rebels fighting in Syria, and that's what the rebels did to the Syrians. And you all heard about the churches, the mosques, they've been destroyed by these rebels. And that's it. If you ask who's the rebels we aiding now here, and Obama should know, and he knows that.
The bullshit from the government?
That's what the rebels did to the Syrians.